Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by thelines.com. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined by Nate Weitzer on the East Coast. And we've got play of props here on a Thursday in the NBA as we roll along in these playoffs. 2 games on the slate here. Knicks trying to close it out. And we've also obviously got that Pacers and Bucks series that's probably still going to be without Dame and Giannis in this one. But we'll be taking a look at our best play of prop bets here. Also have a regular best bets with some sides and totals and the like in a separate video for you as we're bringing you both these each and every day now moving forward throughout the playoffs. Also want you to head to thelines.com. That's the site there with everything that you'll need as you're continuing to bet on these playoffs, including the NBA Prop Finder tool. Make sure you can see all of the odds that are available to you from these books that are giving us bets. Shop those lines and get the best juice. Nate, let's go ahead and get into your first NBA play of prop. My boy, OG.
Yeah, I mean, the Knicks are not playing many guys, and they're playing OG Anunoby like 45 minutes at least. So I'll take over 5.5 rebounds here. And there's some other reasons why his rebound chances have suddenly spiked. I mean, the Mitchell Robinson injury kind of being the biggest thing is that in the first game, I mean, Mitch was all over the boards. And, I mean, he's been an off-the-bench guy, used sparingly on Embiid. They'll probably use Mitch and Hartenstein on him until the fourth when OG will get some shots at Embiid. But as long as he's not guarding Embiid, like OG is coming off the weak side, he's guarding like Tobias Harris or someone, and he's just able to crash. And so in the last 2, he has 35 rebound chances, which is, right up there with Josh Hart, most on the team, 20 total rebounds. He had 14 rebounds in the game that Mitch missed entirely in game 4, but still came back with 6 in game 5 with Mitchell out there. I mean, Hartenstein has a 46% rebound rate versus Mitch is at 64%. So Hartenstein is in a bit of a different role in terms of controlling the glass there. And I mean, even sometimes Kyle Lowry is guarding OG, right? I mean, you got to hide him somewhere if he's not going to be able to guard Brunson. So, I mean, that gives him an opportunity to really crash the glass. And I mean, he had 4 offensive rebounds in game 4, including 3 in a row in the fourth quarter as the Knicks kind of wear you down the stretch. They're rebounding like 50% of their misses in the fourth. So that's another way for this bet to hit. But in general, it's just a banking on him playing, 48.5 minutes per game in these last 2 with one going to overtime.
Yeah. I hear it. I'm with you. And like I was saying, he's been a bit more aggressive over the course of the last 2-3 games on offense too. Like he wasn't nearly as aggressive in the first couple. That points prop keeps jumping high, right? I think it's at 14.5 right now. I noticed you left that off, and this is a little bit more of a Nate special where it's like, hey, the man's going to be on the floor for 45 minutes. I like rebound props. You got to walk into them, and he has been rebounding more lately as well. Because of his switch on defense, the things that are coinciding with Mitchell Robinson's injury. What changed there was that he's helping on. He's basically taking Embiid one-on-one anytime he's above the foul line, and I mean even when he gets down low, now you've got the free safety alongside him. But this was such a wonderful pickup. Like what a Tom Thibodeau usable player in OG Anunoby for everything that he wants to do, and as long as he keeps making good decisions on offense, which he's been known to not always make good decisions on offense, then he can keep playing 45 minutes and nobody's worried about him being a detriment on the other side of the ball. But let me take the former Knick, who it's not even bittersweet to watch Obi Toppin succeed in the playoffs. It's fun. I enjoy it because I was always going to root for Obi even after he left the Knicks. So I'm taking him at the points and rebounds in this one. I think I kind of like the rebounds even a little bit more than the points, but he just keeps being such a huge part of their offense. The rebounds are still at 4.5, and that seems to be the thing. And it was plus money last night during doing some research. I think it might be right around even money still for him to get over 4.5. We've seen this number as low as 3.5, so I get it being as close. But I put them both together. You still get minus 102 on your money there for the 13.5. But starting with the rebounds, he gets boards against this team, and there's good reason. I mean, if you look at his profile stuff and the way that he does rebound, where he is on the floor, all that stuff, he should be good for getting rebounds against his team. Like a very athletic power forward is the type of player that has gotten a lot of rebounds against Milwaukee all season. Actually, fourth most to his rebound profile, as I talk about on courtsidepal.com. But the thing about the boards too is he's just in position for those rebound chances. That's what he's been. He's gotten about 10 rebound chances per game in his last 9 games. So he's played this team 10 times now this season. The Bucks, and he's in the first game played 9 minutes. didn't really do much, played 13 minutes rather, didn't do much of anything at all in that game. Well, in the last 9, including the next 4 in the regular season and the 5 in this series, all his stuff is up above his like season averages and clearly like indicate this dude loves playing against Milwaukee with or without Giannis, to be honest. And he kind of has flourished even more in the playoffs than he did in the regular season without Giannis in there, unsurprisingly, especially when you have Bobby Portis, who's actually hasn't even really been out there for a lot of these Obi minutes over the last 3 games, because Bobby Portis is in the middle of shutting down Pascal Siakam, so he doesn't have time to worry about Obi, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But at this point, like, Obi's in a good matchup all the time. If you got Brolo on him, he's going right by him. If he's got anybody smaller, just throw that thing up at the rim, and that's where you see most of Obi's shots coming, as well as catch and shoot. He's also been the beneficiary, similar to sort of the Ben Shepherd bet in the best bets video. The Obi's been the recipient of these catch and shoot plays that have gotten him a couple 3-point looks as well. The thing here is, like, I need him to play 20 to 22 minutes, and then this is like a very, very good bet according to the numbers, right? And with the juice that you get back on this bet, like, the 20 to 22 minutes projection has him like comfortably over the 13 and a half at about 16, 17 points and rebounds. It's if he plays like a random 15, 16 minutes. But I feel like, as much as we've gotten Carlisle to have these, a wide range of lineups, because he has like 2 players that can do everything. Like, here's prototype of this type of player, I've got 2 of them. A prototype of that type of player, I've got 2 of them, right? Nembhard and Shepherd, and like he's really good at having all these multiple players at one position. But Obi's clearly been the best at what he's trying to do, which is get to the rim and play above the rim. He's the only one really getting those shots inside of 5 feet anymore, now that Pascal Siakam's having a much more difficult time because he went completely off in the first 2 games, and they're like, that ain't happening again, right? And that's left things a little bit more open for Obi at this point. He's at 9 field goal attempts per game in 18 minutes this series, and that includes a game where he only played about 13 minutes once again, which was the low number that he played in the regular season that didn't garner him enough stats. So if he gets this, like in the last 4, basically 24 minutes, 11 points per game, 9 attempts, 6 boards on 10 chances. That's the thing here, too. In the last 4 games of the series, 10 rebound chances, in part, once again, because Pascal's not getting as close to the rim. His rebounds have gone down, and he and Obi are still getting some time together because of the fact that, like, when you take Miles Turner off, you don't have rim protection, and Miles Turner is pretty good at off-ball rim protection, but you still have guys that can hit a 3 and draw the defense, like guys like Brook Lopez, away from the basket as much as possible. So you're not, my main point there is Obi Toppin being on the floor alongside Pascal, for instance, isn't a huge detriment to this Pacers team, who's already terrible at stopping you from getting to the rim if you want to. So Miles Turner hasn't really stopped it that much, but on offense, he's really opened things up when he gets 20 to 22 minutes. So I really am just like banking on Carlisle not just being totally, by the wind, and just playing something a little bit more consistently that's proven to be successful, which is Obi Toppin.
Yeah, and he operates more on the wing and in the corner, right? I mean, and you think the Bucks, although they live or die with these above the break threes after Miles Turner scorched them above the break in these 2 home games in Indy, like, maybe they adjust a little bit, and then you get more balls coming out to Obi with the fast closeout, and he's just able to create on that end. Yeah, you've seen his minutes go up because they do need to get a bit bigger. I mean, after they got bullied in the last game, I mean, he's up to like 24 minutes in an attempt to get more size out there and more rebounding. And yeah, he also averages more rebounds at home because the Pacers tend to play a little bit faster there, and you just get more opportunities. But yeah, not a surprise that he's 6 out of 10 on rebound chances with that leaping ability. So like balling them both together, it makes sense. I'm going to take another Nick here. I'm going to take Miles McBride over 9.5 points. And yeah, Miles Deuce. And it is plus 106, I believe, still at FanDuel. Look, he's up to 30 minutes per game in those last 2. And the Knicks are running a 7-man rotation without Bogey. And he's the only guard who will come off the bench. And I'm going to forecast even more than 30 minutes. I mean, he played 33 last time out because Maxey was going off. So I think he'll be over 30 minutes again as an opportunity, as a matchup against Maxey, as one of the few guys quick enough to deal with him, right? And that's got to be the number one priority for Thibodeau, is like, what are they doing on this off day? Is like, all right, we got to contain Maxey. We know Embiid's going to slow down the stretch. How are we going to guard this kid? And then on the other end, I mean, McBride is a perfect release valve for Brunson, who's just doing everything, drawn to all the time. McBride shooting 54% on catch and shoot threes in this series, 13.5 points per game in his last 2. And DiVincenzo has just not been as effective on the catch and shoots, right? I mean, he's 21% and he's down to 27 minutes per game. So it's like, who's he replacing in the rotation? It's very clear he's a little bit quicker as a defender. And I mean, his mechanics as a shooter, it's not, I don't see it as an outlier that he shot 50%. Like, he's rock solid in his mechanics. And clearly the kid is not that phased by bright lights. I mean, his playoff debut, he had 21 with 5 threes, right? He averaged 15 a game his last 9 this season on the road, shooting 50, 46, 92%. When he got a little bit more opportunity, Brunson missed a couple games, but he was right there regardless if anybody was going to miss games. Like, he's in there, ready to step up, and just, I think he's ready to hit open shots when the opportunity comes. If he's going to get 30 minutes, I like 10 points. It's not very high.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's about when is he coming in, because he doesn't really play much in the first quarter. And I don't understand why. Maxey has now gone off in first quarters, as Joel Embiid hasn't even really been able to maintain his like first quarter dominance, where it's like, well, Joel comes in and scores at least 10 in the first, and then whatever. We'll see how it goes the rest of the game. Like, he hasn't even been doing that. It's now been Maxey being like, all right, I got it from the jump. I am the alpha right now, because Joel is not able to do that. He's not able to be the alpha for that many possessions in a row. He's now really relying on threes and free throws instead of just being like, let me big boy you down here. And we've gotten a lot more Mitch Robb recently when he's actually been healthy, which I think is what he wants to do. Like, I do think if Mitch Robb is healthy, that Thibodeau wants him in there. So that is a little bit just of a better defender on Joel. And you need Miles out there. That's the main point. Maxey has been filthy, as we know. I talk about saying the most obvious thing you could think of from this series. Maxey has been so freaking good. But at the same time, Miles is the best defender for him. I don't know why they would wait till like the second quarter, because his minutes have been like, here you get like, maybe a couple in the first and the third, and then you play pretty much the whole second and the fourth quarter. And they like him as a closer, but like he's got to be more of a Maxey stopper. And so they're going to have to bring him in a little bit earlier. And by stopper, I mean hopefully slower downer. But let me finish with an under here, the only under of the day for our props, but I like under for Pascal. And this is something that has happened in the last 3 games, but there is a clear like dividing line of something that's happened for Pascal that's caused him to not go over anymore the way he was in the first 2 games. Brolo was guarding him one-on-one in the first 2 games. Brolo is no longer guarding him. Even in game 4, when Bobby Portis, who is now his primary defender, came out of the game, not of his own accord because he got tossed, but after he left after the first quarter in game 4 there for Bobby Poe, they still didn't put Brolo on him. They had Chris Middleton. They had Pat Connaughton. They brought in Jay Crowder. They had some Andre Jackson. But Brolo was not allowed to play Pascal one-on-one anymore, and that's because of the matchup problem from everywhere outside of 5 feet. There's nowhere else that Brolo has an advantage trying to guard Pascal one-on-one. That was the wildest. I guess they thought maybe Pascal wouldn't shoot threes, and that because Miles Turner was shooting threes, they didn't want to drag Brolo away from the basket on defense so he could play his customary, like, dunkers, like block the dunker spot essentially and drop defense. But like that clearly just didn't work. Pascal actually shot 50% from deep with Brolo guarding him. In the 10 minutes, it was 10 minutes and 10 seconds in the first 2 games that Brook was the primary defender on Pascal, and in that time frame, he gave up about 27 points in those 10 minutes, 12 for 18 field goals, and then he was 3 of 6 from deep or whatever in those first 2 games, where like he just got barbecued, honestly, like one-on-one, and he wasn't really able to help much on other guys as well, and Miles Turner did even better as well. And then after those first 2 games where we saw 38.5 minutes from Pascal, 36.5 points on 24 shots, right? And then 4 threes where he made a couple of them as well. 64% from the field, 50% from 3. Hasn't been a good free throw shooter actually this year or in this postseason at this point. Even was only making about 3 of 6 free throws in those first 2 games. But then the next 3 games where he's guarded by anybody but Brolo. And I would remind everybody, Bobby Portis, as much as we all love him to be like a 20-point scorer when Giannis is not in the game, or the microwave off the bench that can just like put up quick points and hit a ton of mid-range shots, Bobby Portis used to be an enforcer. I think we forget that sometimes. Like, his original role in the NBA was Chicago bad boy who punched his own teammate, then move into like a New York Knicks role for a little bit. And we loved him because he's crazy eyes and like plays awesome defense. But now he's transitioned, but he still has that defense. And now we've seen that against Pascal in these last three games, where he's at the same 38 minutes, but 14 points a game and only 14 shots. And that's really a huge part of it, is he's not getting the same amount of shots off because he's not able to just take a dude who he's much faster than to whatever part of the court he wants to get his. And that's what he was doing with Brolo, was like, he wasn't even just staying on his his customary, like he usually likes the right side of the court and playing from the elbow in that area or out to the wing. And he was going to the baseline. He was going to the opposite corner. He was like, come here, bro. Like, we're going to go for a ride. And Bobby Portis is just a much better and more fleet of foot defender to be able to help out on that, which is why his percentages have gone down to about 42% from the field, 9% from deep. Both outliers, I would imagine, but like it's not like it's going to go up that much. I mostly just on breaking down the math. He can play 38 minutes, he can take 14 shots, and that isn't good enough to get a guy like Pascal 23 points because he's also not even getting to the free throw line that much. He's down to about 4 free throw attempts per game over the last 3 as well. So I just think it's going to continue to be the same defensive effort that Glenn Rivers has kind of figured out, and that's going to mean that Pascal's not getting anything easy out on the perimeter, which is definitely not going to open it up at all to make it easier for him down low. And Bobby Poe is one of the few guys strong enough to bang with him down there on this Bucks squad.
Yeah, it's a crazy drop off after these first 2 games, and it's not just about the defensive matchup. I think it's about the scheme that the Bucks, like originally, they were just like, we got to take Halliburton out of the game, like right, we got to face guard him, and then they compromised their defense behind that, and then they realized they can adjust that because Halliburton will at times take himself out of the game as a scorer, and you don't have to you don't have to mortgage your defense. Like Siakam's the one who's trying to score all the time, so now. Yeah, they've limited his shot attempts in the first place and forced the Pacers to become more balanced, forced these guys with zero experience to hit big shots. And I think they'll continue that approach as they try to climb back and force Game 7 here. Yeah, so I think the points is the easiest thing to go with because he's still going to play a ton of minutes and get rebounds and assists. But, yeah, if he's not getting his shots up, he's not getting the line, the points are going to be hard to come by.
Yeah, nothing easy, and it was all easy in the first couple games. To your point, whether Brook is his primary defender, or more importantly, the scheme is take Brook off him because now you have a legit, weak side help blocker in Brook Lopez, one of the best in the game at doing that. So that's been really bothersome for Pascal. I think we'll see him go under again, but that is all the time that we have for you in our player props video for Thursday. So make sure to subscribe to that page, continue to follow along, and check out the best bets video we also have up alongside this video each and every day moving forward throughout these playoffs. Until we see you next, happy betting.